Cool. So welcome on to the interview. You want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey guys, thanks for having me on. My name is Jonathan Vasquez. Actually live here in the city of Chino, out in California, and I've been in the real estate business for the last, well, maybe about 10 years, and just excited to let the people know what it's all about.
Awesome, man. Cool. So you wanna tell us a little bit more about like your story, where you were born and raised, how old were you when you got into real estate? How did you get into real estate? Just share with us your story.
Sure. You know what? It really well, first of all, I was born in Mexico City. Um, so my parents are both from my father's from Mexico and my mom's from Guatemala. And but they brought me down here when I was, a couple months old. So as you know, as most people know, the Hispanic community, they, when they're poor, they usually were raised in the LA area. So I was raised in Compton. Compton, for those people who know, is a little bit of rougher area, a little bit of violence, but I'm grateful because I had parents that were really concerned with our well-being. I have an older brother; he's 3 years older than I am, and they wanted the best for us. So right around when we were about 12, 13 years old, my mom insisted that we move to the city called Chino. And at that time, the Chino was known for being a dairy farm type area where people would grow, they would have ranches and they would have cows, and it was known for having the manure type smell. So we moved out here when I was about 12, 13. And right away, my dad got into the real estate business when I was young, and I saw him do very well. I saw him dressed up. He was always well dressed. He was always going out showing properties, and I saw him do very well in a short amount of time. So, when I got a little bit older, I obviously got interested in real estate. So my dad started taking me out to showings, and I helped him do open houses, and I helped them print out flyers and knock on doors. So I've been in the real estate business really for over 20 years. But I myself didn't get licensed and started doing full-time real estate till about maybe 10 years ago. The reason I say that is because I had my own ideas, my own endeavors. I was in the restaurant business for 15 years because my family, apart from real estate, they always had businesses. But the time came, man, where I wanted to focus myself on something bigger and grander, because the restaurant business it's rewarding, it's cool, you get to talk to people, you always have a little bit of cash in your pocket. But I was tired of the long hours, man, 15, 16 hours a day. I was tired of coming home smelling like food. And really, the weekends for the restaurant are your busiest times. It's your bread and butter. And it was the time where my family wanted to go out to a movie, or I would always miss soccer games, birthday parties, because I was always out working, which was okay. But I think the time came where, I want to do something different. So I got into real estate full time about 10 years ago. And let me be honest, I get this question a lot. I got into real estate not to be a real estate agent. My main focus for getting into real estate was actually to become an investor. But I wanted to become an investor because I heard stories about people doing well, whether it was flipping houses or, rentals. So I wanted to become an investor, but I understood very early on that in order to become a successful investor, I had to know the fundamentals of real estate, right? I needed to know the terminology, the lingo. I wanted to know some of the laws, the rules, the regulations, how to structure a deal. And so therefore I got my regular real estate license. And even though I ended up getting into the investment sector, I enjoy doing full-time real estate. Um, so for the first couple of years, about first 4 or 5 years, I was regular buying, selling, helping people buy their homes, helping them sell their properties, until I became a little bit more knowledgeable on how to buy properties for myself. So that's where it kind of took a turn for me. I would say about 5 years ago, I started buying property for me, because I was always helping people buy properties for them, whether it was their first time home or an investment. So I started buying properties for myself. And that's where I can say that I went to another level. Not so much financially, but I would say my career took a different path. And I consider success. Yes, you want to make money, but more than that, I was free for the first time in my life because now I was able to be off on the weekends if I wanted to. I was able to take a vacation if I really wanted to, and that's where I find that my successes come from. And a lot of people ask me, "Yeah, how did you get started?" And really, that's where it all began. Really showing houses and helping people sell.
Awesome. Awesome. And when you say freedom, why did it investing in real estate give you that freedom?
You know what? I would say because when I was working at the restaurant, even real estate, I would find myself always working kind of like a paycheck to paycheck, right? I was always waiting for Friday to get paid or my commission check to come in. And you're always gonna have that, waiting to get paid to do big things. But I think when I started investing, I think about the second year when I started doing my full-time investing, I noticed that I was able to take the time off without having to worry about, man, I need to go back to work and make more money, or you know what, I need to go back because I'm out of money, or I'm not able to take off a weekend because if I'm not, I'm going to be broke for the week, and that's the freedom that I found more satisfying than just making money. Because making money, don't get me wrong, we all like making money. I like making money, but it was really for the purpose of just being stress free and investing. Because when you invest right, you can have a big return in a short amount of time, or you can have a lot of small returns in a long period of time. Either way, you're gonna get paid, and that's where the freedom came from, knowing that even if I went to work today or I didn't go, I was still going to get paid. That was freeing for me. Like, wow, you know what, I'm good. And I think that's really anybody's goal and desire, is really to be financially free.
Mhm. What type of investment properties do you have now?
So initially I got into single family, regular single story, two-story home, 3 bedrooms. But I would say I made the mistake of investing right off the bat into um, like regular single families. The reason I say I made the mistake, not that it didn't make me money or not that I lost money, but I should have invested in multifamily units right away, duplexes, triplexes. um, in California, anything between a 1 and 4 unit is considered single family. So I should have invested in a duplex right away because I would have been able to get double the income, right? And I would still be able to purchase it with the minimum down payment, get double the income. And so after the second single family that I bought, I noticed that I had to rent out the property to one family for a certain amount, and it was never a lot of money. I would always make $200, $300 a month. Granted, the property was going up in value. Granted, it was my home, but still, I wasn't making a lot of money. So I took the idea of going out of state because California is super expensive. It's just really, really expensive unless you go out to, the rural areas. So I started doing my multifamily investing in Ohio, Cleveland, Ohio, and I would find a lot of cheap multifamilies, man. I'm talking about duplexes for 50, 60, $70,000. And the mortgage was so cheap, and the rent, granted, it's cheap as well, but not only would the tenants pay for my rent, but I would get five, six, $700 of passive income on a monthly basis. So that's where I would say the I started with a single family, but I ended with multifamilies, and they've been very, very rewarding.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Cool, man. What would you recommend as for somebody that's looking to start investing in real estate?
Wow. That's a great question. I get that question a lot. But I would say number one, I would always want a mentor. That is the first thing that I would say, like with anything. And I know you're a mentor when it comes to fitness and health, man. And that's fantastic because I am a big believer of your body being well taken care of, eating well, eating clean, getting good sleep. Because I noticed that when I didn't do that, my mind was really foggy. I would have no confidence, right? I wouldn't even want to take my shirt off, and when I got in the pool. But as you know, I love to run. I'm a runner. I run every day, and I enjoy it. So, first and foremost, a mentor, somebody who's been in the industry for, a couple of years, and somebody who's actually doing investing, as they're teaching you, not just somebody who says it and doesn't do it, because they're in the trenches, they're on the ground, they're getting the loans. So get a mentor, even if you have to pay a couple $100, it doesn't matter because they're going to guide you. They're going to cut your learning curve in half, if not more. They're going to give you the cheat sheet. They're going to tell you where to go, where to invest, where not. A good mentor will keep you accountable, and they will guide you in the right direction, and they will tell you the steps to take. Secondly, I would say that if somebody has a mentor, maybe you have a little bit of capital, I would really look out of state right now. The states where it's least expensive, because what I like to do is I like to buy properties that need a little bit of fixing, right? Fixer uppers. We buy these properties. Obviously, you use a type of loan called a hard money loan. It's like cash, but they call it hard money because the bank charges you a high interest rate. They're going to charge you a high rate, but they give you that money in little to no time, 5 to 10 business days. You are going to be charged, 20 to 25% the first time around when you buy this property, but they will give you not only the money for the home, they will give you the money for the rehab. So when somebody buys a home that's a fixer upper, let's say you buy it for $50,000 and you need another $40,000 to fix the property, the bank will loan you the full capital, the full 90,000. So by the time your property is purchased, you fix it. Once you fix the property, then at that point, you can refinance out of that hard money loan into a traditional, conventional, or FHA loan and pull your money out of that property. So I would say mentor, number one. Number two, go out of state where the properties are not too expensive. And number three, very important, I would say the reason that people don't invest initially is because it's the fear of loss. I get it. I've been investing for quite some time and I still get butterflies in my stomach. I still question myself. I still ask, man, is that the right decision? But you have to take the first step. You have to take a leap of faith. I have bought many properties where I've made no money. I've bought a few, not too many, where I've lost a little bit of money, but it's all a learning experience. But the good thing about real estate is I've learned that the majority of time you're always gonna win. Even if it's not right away, in the long term, you will gain money. So I would say for sure mentor, number two, out of state, and I would say three, take the leap of faith. Most people have the credit, most people have the money, most people have somebody they know who does real estate and they can guide them, but they're just afraid. And that was my big thing. It took me 4 years to invest because I was just afraid of letting go. Um, but you got to take that risk, man. Take the risk, and I promise you, you're definitely gonna regret not starting before. That's my regret. Now my only regret, man, is that I didn't do it before. I was like, man, how come nobody told me about this? But they did. It wasn't my time. But I would definitely do that.
Awesome, man. Appreciate that. Well, what advice would you give for somebody looking to get their real estate license or somebody who just got their real estate license?
Great question again. It's gonna be similar to the investing sector because number one of the things that new realtors are gonna want to know is where to go. Where's a good office to go? Where do I start? Again, I would say get a mentor or get a friend who's been in the real estate business, or anybody that you see that is somewhat successful in your area. Reach out to them. You'll be surprised how many realtors that are they've been in the game for a long time. They're willing to help out. There's some that are kind of, they don't have time to teach others, but other people they're cool.
I would reach out to somebody and just ask them, hey, you know what do I do? um so find yourself a friend or a mentor that's going to kind of walk you through the process. Number two, you have to look up a good brokerage. It's very important that you go to a good brokerage where you can hang your license, because even if you have your real estate license, you're not able to sell real estate right off the bat. You first have to have your license at a brokerage. The brokerage is going to be the company you work for, whether it's Remax, Keller Williams, EXP, whatever. And you're going to discuss with them your commission split, how much they're going to charge you for X, Y, and Z. I remember a couple of wise words. One of my real estate friends told me when I first started. She said, John, in the beginning, don't even worry about commission split. Don't even worry about it. Just learn. So that would be my piece of advice. Just learn as much as you can and ask as many questions as you can. In real estate, when you're new, there is no such thing as a stupid question. Ask, ask, ask. If you don't know, ask. And that's what I did for the first 2 years. I remember one of the girls that was working there with me at that time, she said, man, you ask a lot of questions. And I just thought to myself, like, well, I have to. Nobody else is going to tell me. In real estate, I've also noticed that the business is very rewarding, but because you're dealing with a lot of money, there's some people that can be a little bit greedy or a little bit competitive, so they might not share with you. And I've noticed that a lot of people kind of keep to themselves in the business. So you have to ask, watch videos, and eventually, guys, I would say fourth piece of advice for a new realtor, a new person getting their license. Remember, when you first start, nobody's born knowing anything. I hate not knowing something and have to learn it. But at the end of the day, remember, it's going to take you 2, 3, 4, 5 months, but you will get it down. You will learn. You will make money. You will sell. You will have a transaction. A lot of people think to themselves, maybe like, man, I'm not going to sell, or you know what, I'm not going to do well. You will. It just takes time. And as you say all the time, man, it takes dedication, it takes persistence, and don't stop. A lot of people won't sell the first month, 2 months, and they say, that's it, I'm out. I'm gonna go back to my full-time job. If that's what you want to do, fine, but it takes time. But I promise you one thing, once you start getting a little bit of momentum, once you start learning, you're gonna get the ball rolling and you're gonna be on fire. So I would say, those pieces of advice: don't give up, keep going, learn, mentor, and find a good brokerage.
Awesome. I'm sure everyone's going to see a lot of value from that for people that are just getting started in real estate or looking to get started in real estate. Would you recommend somebody to become a real estate agent if they have no passion in or interest in actually selling homes?
That's a good question. That's a very good question, man. I would say no, do not. If you don't have a passion or any interest in selling homes or even helping people, because I would say one of the greatest rewards that I've gotten when I was a regular real estate agent is you do get to help a lot of people. You help them get into their first home. Man, looking at people's smiles on their faces that never thought something like that would be possible and making it possible, they cry. There's some people who thank you, people who I thought, dude, they know what they're doing. They had no idea how to buy a home, and you're supposed to be the one who's going to guide them. So, if you don't have a passion for number two, if you don't have a really an interest in selling property, then maybe becoming a real estate agent per se is not for you. But maybe you want to get into real estate, but just not an agent. I would say there's so many other avenues in real estate that you can do. In one real estate transaction, what I have found out is that in just one purchase or one sale, every person employs a minimum of 5 or 6 people in one transaction. In one purchase, you're gonna hire a real estate agent, you're gonna hire a escrow company, you're gonna hire a title company, there's going to be a home inspector, there's going to be a appraiser that's going to come out and do the appraisal of the property, and then you're going to hire a notary public, and you're going to hire a lender. So in one transaction, there are so many people that are getting paid and so many people that are being blessed. I think there's also other opportunities. Maybe somebody might not want to be a real estate agent, but they want to be an investor. You don't need a license to be an investor. Maybe somebody doesn't want to be a real estate agent, but you know what? I love to stage properties. So many people that have gotten into that business, they stage properties. That means they put the furniture inside, they make the property look good so it can sell. Maybe somebody doesn't want to do any of that, but they want to be a real estate photographer. Man, photographers are our best friends because we call them when it's time to sell a property. Or some, you know what? I don't want to do any of that. I want to be a home inspector. I want to make sure that properties are in good condition. There are so many different jobs or job opportunities in real estate, not just a realtor. But I would say that it's definitely rewarding. It's in real estate as an agent, it can be challenging because, as you know, if you do not sell, you don't get paid, and that could be a little bit weary for some people. That's why a lot of people won't do it full time right away, and that's a good idea. I would say if somebody's interested, don't quit your job right away, no matter what anybody says. I would say, hey, get your classes going, get your license, and try it out. Maybe you might love it more than you think, or maybe you know what, it's just not for you. But I would never just quit my job because you always need some sort of income coming in. So, yeah, man, very rewarding. But I would say always be mindful of what you want to do.
Totally. Awesome. There's last time I checked, there's 39,000 registered real estate agents in Los Angeles County alone.
Yeah.
And I work with a lot of real estate agents. I talk to a lot of them, and what I've noticed, it's the same with any industry, is regardless, only 10% are going to be like pretty successful. Like one out of 10 realtors I talk to is actually doing really well. The other 9 are in the process of, coming up. What would you say are the characteristics and skill sets of a successful real estate agent versus, just somebody who is taking it like less serious?
Man, that is such a great observation, Devin, and it's such a great question because that is a very deep question. But let me tell you what I've noticed about successful realtors. You're right when you say that 10% of realtors are successful. I think there was a stat not too long ago that said that in a brokerage, out of 100 agents in one brokerage, only about 10 or 15 actually sell. So that's kind of surprising because you see a lot of people being busy, but it's only about 10 or 15% at most that actually produce. So I have realized in my short amount of time by studying people, because I've tried to emulate their traits. I've tried to copy their demeanor. And I've been to so many conventions. I've had so many conversations. I've had so many dialogues with successful realtors, and it's always the same 4 or 5 pieces of advice that I'm given. Number one, I would say that a successful realtor has to be persistent. Persistent is key because you will be told no more times than not. If you knock on 100 doors, 50 might open, and out of those 50 that do open, 25 might talk to you, and out of those 25, 10 might say they might be interested, and out of those 10, one might become a sale. So you have to be willing to go through rejection, and you have to be willing to go through some sort of a hard time in order to get that sale. You will eventually get it, but somebody has to be persistent, making calls, sending flyers out in the mail, knocking on doors if necessary. Just always looking for business, and you're always going to be told no, but you cannot take it personal. So persistence is number one. Number two, I would say, is consistency. Consistency is key because it's like when somebody wants to lose weight. I hear this a lot. I want to lose weight. I want to slim down. I want to get skinny. I want to grow muscle, but they don't put in the work. And really, there is no short-term solution for hard work. There is no magic pill that somebody can take to become skinny. There is no magic pill somebody can take to become successful. At the end of the day, it's going to take hard work. There was this old saying at my brokerage that they had on the placard, and it said, um, I think it said something like this, and I'm a paraphrase, but it says like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. Yeah, and I read it and it stuck with me because I've known a lot of talented people. They have the gift of gab, man, they can sell, but they don't work hard. And the people who worked hard would always outproduce the talented people. And it was interesting because talented people, there's not a lot of them. But yet, I think because of the talent, they think they can rely on that. I'm guilty of that myself. I know I was talented in many areas, and I would rely on my talent, but my talent alone only got me so far. I would always plateau, but it always took hard work, staying the extra hour, going the extra mile, driving the extra, showing the other two houses, and that's what it takes. So persistence, consistency. I would say number three, I would say be original. A lot of the times we emulate other realtors, and that's okay because I think that's the first thing we do. I remember looking at a bunch of realtors' business cards, and I don't know why, but it was always funny to me that every realtor that I met had the same look. They had their suit, a tie, and they always had their arms crossed. And I thought to myself, why? Why was that like the standard? What is it? So I thought to myself, I'm going to be different. So I did mine a little bit different, holding a tie, but I wanted to be different, right? There are realtors who focus, and they only sell houses in the mountains. There's a couple of realtors that only do houses out in the desert. There are realtors that only do brand new houses. There are realtors that only do fixer-uppers. So you want to find your niche. You want to be original so you can stand out from the crowd, because everybody's going to look the same, act the same, talk the same. That's okay to a certain extent. There are people who want to deal with people that are different, that they like, that they can trust. So be original, be yourself, whoever that may be. I would say be the best version of yourself. And I would say number four, apart from working hard, consistency, being yourself, I would say don't give up. And that sounds a little bit redundant, but don't give up. Don't give up. Don't stop. And persevere through the pain, through the rejection, and through through all the trials and tribulation that you're going to go through as a realtor. There are going to be times you don't get paid. You have to go through it. You have to go through it, and you have to learn. And this brings me to my final point. You have to always be willing to learn. That's one thing that I've learned. Me too. You have to be willing to catch up to the times. If things are going digital, you got to go digital. If people are now going and putting social media ads, you've got to do the same thing. I've met a lot of realtors that used to be successful, but because they couldn't catch up with the times, or they didn't want to change, they stopped producing as much as they did. I hear a lot of stories of people telling me, man, I used to do so good. That's great. But at the end of the day, it's not what you did, it's what you're doing today. If you were successful, that's great. We can learn from that. But success is only important if it's being done today, right? So that's why I would say always be willing to learn, be willing to, watch videos, read books. A lot of successful people like to read. They read because they need the wisdom of other people. They read books, newspapers, they watch videos. We can learn from the old, we can learn from the young. You do you do fitness and wellness, and I still learn from you, because one thing about you, Devin, is you're consistent. You're always preaching the same message. You're always throwing out there your brand, and that's what it takes. It takes consistency. It takes dedication, and you have to be willing to learn. And I've learned that from you. At least I sit back and I'm like, this guy's persistent. He's consistent. He's a hard worker. Awesome. I learned from that. And I think that's what it takes, man. Success leaves clues. And I think those clues are, being consistent, working hard, being yourself, and never giving up, and always be willing to learn.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate it. And I think a lot of people interested in real estate. And honestly, we both know that those characteristics transfer to pretty much anything in life, any industry, right? So definitely appreciate that, man. I have another interview to get on right now with a fitness coach, so I appreciate your time. Where can people find you at?
Yeah, man. Hey, thank you for having me on. Guys, if anybody has any questions, you can follow me on Instagram, Jonathan_Newgen. That's the name of my brand, my company, New Gen, because this is a new generation of how we do real estate. So Jonathan at New Gen, come find me if you have any questions regarding real estate, investing. And remember, one thing about realtors, when you talk to a realtor, you never pay him. If a realtor charges you, that's not a good job. No realtor charges you up front. When you're buying a property, a lot of people don't know this. When you're buying a property, you never pay a realtor. Never, 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 never. Any commission comes from the sale of the home that we're buying. So don't let anybody charge you up front, guys. Remember, I'm here to help you, and we do it for free. Of course, our job is to sell and to buy, but our job is to help you get that first home or that first investment. So, yeah, man, thanks for having me on, brother. God bless you. Keep preaching that message, and we're here to help each other out.
Absolutely, brother. Appreciate you, man. Have a good one. Talk to you soon.
You too, brother. Have a good one, guys. Bye now.